Welcome to the video lecture on course code U18 ESIT 404 Digital System Design. And I am Dr. B. Dhanlakshmi, Professor, Department of Information Technology, School of Computing, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research, Chennai. And today's topic we are going to see about memory and programmable logic. And first we will see the introduction about the memory units. So what is memory unit? A collection of cells capable of storing a large quantity of binary information and to which binary information is transferred for storage and from which information is available when needed for processing. So together with associated circuits needed to transfer the information in and out of the device. So we can also say these memory units are mainly used for write operation and read operation. And in write operation, where we store new information into the memory. And in read operation, we transfer the stored information out of the memory. There are two major types here in memory units. The first one is RAM, which is random access memory, that is read and write, which accept new information for storage to be available later for use. And we also have then other type, which is ROM, read-only memory, which perform only read operation. And now we will see about the main device in the memory unit, which is programmable logic device. And programmable logic device is an integrated circuit with internal logic gates. And here we have hundreds to millions of gates interconnected through hundreds to thousands of internal paths forming the communication. They're connected through the electronic paths that behave similar to fuse, which is seen in the original state, and all the fuses are intact. And here we use this programmable logic device for programming the device, where blowing those fuses along the paths that must be removed in order to obtain the particular configuration of the desired logic function. And we have the different types here, which are ROM, that is read-only memory, programmable logic array, then programmable array logic, and field programmable gate array. And these units we are going to see in detail in the further slides. And first, we will see the main memory unit, which is random access memory. And here, this memory unit stores binary information in groups of bits. So where 1 byte here is equal to 8 bits, as we all know, and 16-bit word is equal to 2 bytes, and 32-bit word, which is equal to 4 bytes. And here we have an interface where we find n data input and output lines. And here the k address selection lines are involved. And we have control lines specifying the direction of transfer. And here in the addressing mode, here each word is assigned to an address where k bit address is involved, which is having 0 to 2 power k minus 1 word. And the size here is 2 power 10, that is kilo, and mega, which is referred as 2 power 20, and giga, which is referred as 2 power 30. A decoder is there which accepts an address and opens the paths needed to selection the word specified. And here is the block diagram of the memory unit given on the right hand side, where the memory unit 2 per k words involves n bit per word, which has having n data input lines and involving k address lines, which is mainly for read and write operation. And here this block gives n data output lines. And here is an example where we have 1 kilowords. So 1k words of 16 bits. And here the capacity is calculated by multiplying the 16 bits to 1k, which is 2k bytes, that is 2048 bytes. The memory address here, binary and the corresponding decimal representations are given for the memory addresses. And the memory context is also given. So this shows the content of 1024 into 16 memory. The addressing data here involves 16-bit data and 10-bit address. And now we will see the write and read operations. The steps of write operation involve apply the binary address to the address lines, then apply the data bits to the data input lines, and then activate the write input. The steps of read operation involves applying the binary address to the address lines and then activate the read input. There are two ways of control inputs which separate the read and write inputs, and we have memory enable chip select plus read or write operation select, which are widely used in commercial or multi-chip memory components. So this table shows the control inputs to memory chip. The memory enable, which is represented as a value 0, and the read or write operation as x, where the memory operation is none. And when the memory operation is write to selected word, then read or write operation will hold 0 value and memory enable holding 1 value. And when the memory operation read from selected word, then the read or write operation has 1 value and memory enable holds 1 value. Now we will see the timing waveforms of memory. The memory operation control, which involves usually controlled by external devices such as CPU. The CPU provides memory control signals to synchronize its internal clock operations with memory operations. CPU also provides the address of the memory. The memory operation times here involves the access time and the cycle time. So what is access time? It's a time to select a word and read it. Then what is the cycle time? The time to complete a write operation. Both must be within the given specific time and which is equal to a fixed number of CPU clock cycles. And now we will see the types of memories, the different categories of the memories. The first type involves random versus sequential memory. So random access memory, here each word is accessible separately where equal access time is given to each block. And sequential access memory, where the information stored is not immediately accessible but only at certain intervals of time. And this sequential memory, access memory involves magnetic disk or tape, and here the access time is variable. And now we will see the next type, which is static versus dynamic memory. The static RAM consists essentially of internal latches and remains valid as long as power is applied to the unit. The advantage here of the static RAM is shorter read and write cycles, and dynamic RAM in the form of electric charges on capacitors which are provided inside the chip by MOS transistors. The drawbacks are which tends to discharge with time and must be periodically recharged by refreshing, cycling through the words every few milliseconds. The advantages of dynamic RAM is short. The dynamic RAM advantage is reduced power consumption and larger storage capacity. And the next type of memory is volatile versus non-volatile memory. So what is volatile memory? That is, stored information is lost when the power is turned off. And non-volatile memory means it remains even after power is turned off. The magnetic disk and the flash memory is an example of the volatile versus non-volatile memory. And now we will see about memory decoding. RAM of m words and n bits, which is given by m into n binary storage cells. The static RAM cell stores one bit in its internal latch, where SR latch with associated gates, where 4 to 6 transistors are involved. And here the logic diagram of the memory cell is given, where we have SR latch which involves the AND gates, and here the read and write operations are done, enabling the select line. And the right hand side block diagram shows you here, which involves the read write operation, the select signal and the input signal, thus giving the output signal. And here is an example which shows the capacity of 16 bits in 4 words of 4 bits each. And here the 2 cross 4 decoder is used, where select one of the 4 words enabled with the memory enabled signal and memory with 2 per k words of n bits, which involves k address lines that go into a k cross 2 per k decoder. And here in this diagram, we can see the 2 cross 4 decoder, where we can see the 2 inputs and the 4 outputs in word form. So this diagram here, 4 cross 4 RAM is involved, which shows the output data, which is the output of the 4 OR gates. Now we will see about coincident decoding. The decoder complexity here, which shows the decoder with k inputs and 2 per k outputs, that requires 2 per k AND gates with k inputs per gate. The two-dimensional decoding, which arrange the cells in a square array. The 2 into k by 2 input decoders instead of 1 k input decoder, where we can find one for row selection and the other for column selection. 1 k word memory, where a single 10 cross 1, where the 0, that is 10 cross 1024, that is decoder which has 10 input AND gates, and 2 5 cross 32 decoders can also be used. 64 5 input AND gates can also be used. And now we will see about the address multiplexing. So here the DRAM involves the large capacity that requires large address decoding, which holds a simpler cell structure. And DRAM, where a MOS transistor and a capacitor per cell is used. Then we have the static RAM, where 6 transistors are used and higher density, that is 4 times the density of the static RAM. And it has a larger capacity and the lower cost per bit, that is 3 to 4 times less than the static RAM. The lower power requirement were the preferred technology for large memories. And 64K, that is 2 per 16 bits, and 256 megabits, that is 2 per 28 bits, may need 16 and 28 address inputs. So address multiplexing use a small set of address input pins to accommodate the address components. A full address is applied in multiple parts at different times. That is a two-dimensional array which involves the row address first and column address second. The same set of pins is used for both parts. The advantage here of the address multiplexing is reducing the number of pins for larger memory. Now we will see the example 64K word memory, which has 256 rows cross 256 columns for 2 power 8 cross 2 power 8, which is equal to 2 power 16, that is 64K words. The address drops, which enables the row and column address into their respective registers, and no memory enable is found here. And this involves a single data input line, a single data output line, a read or write control, and it also involves two address drops, that is RAS and CAS. You can see in the diagram where RAS enables the 8-bit row register by level 0, and CAS which enable 8-bit column register by level 0. And this address multiplexing for a 64K dynamic RAM is given here in the diagram. And here it involves 8-bit column register as we discussed, and 8-bit row register, and 8 into 256 decoder is used. Now we will see about read-only memory. So ROM, that is permanent binary information is stored. So pattern here is specified by the designer, and ROM stays even when power is turned off and on again. The pins here involves the K address inputs and N data outputs, and no data inputs since it does not have a write operation, that is one or more enable inputs are found. And here is the ROM block diagram, which involves 2 power K into N, where N is the output data and K involves the input addresses. And this ROM always have the permanent binary information storage, and which can even stay when the power is turned on or off. And here is an example for 32 cross 8 ROM. A 2 power K cross N ROM has an internal K into 2 power K decoder, and N OR gates are involved here. So 32 words of 8 bits each. So where 8 is the K value, the 32 into 8, which is equal to 256 programmable internal connections. And here 5 inputs are decoded into 32 distinct outputs by 5 cross 32 decoder, each of 8 OR gates have 32 inputs. And here the combinational circuit implementation is given where 2 power k into n ROM, essentially a single device including both the decoder and the OR gates to generate any desired combinational circuit. The k input address lines, which is equal to k input variables, and here k cross 2 power k decoder is used which generate 2 power k min terms of the k inputs. The n output data lines, which is equal to n output functions, and the OR gates always sum the min terms of the Boolean functions. And implementing the combinational circuits by ROM, which needs only the ROM truth table. So here it connects the cross points which represents the min terms. And we can see no internal logic diagram here is needed to explain. The procedures are determine the size of the ROM first and then followed by obtaining the programming truth table, and at last blow the fuse pattern. And here is an example which has f of x is equal to x square, and here it accepts a 3-bit number and generate an output number which is equal to the square of the input number. And here it involves 3 inputs and 6 outputs. So the 3 inputs here are represented as A0, A1 and A2 in the truth table given, and 6 outputs are represented as B0, B1, B2, B3, B4 and B5. So we can find the output B0 is always equal to input A0 and output B1 is always 0. The minimum size ROM, 3 inputs and 4 outputs, that is 8 cross 4 ROM is being used. And now we will see the types of ROM, read-only memory. So what are different methods to program the ROM parts? The first is mask programming ROM. Here it is a customized and filled out truth table by customer and masked by manufacturers during last fabrication process. And it is costly where economical only if large quantities are being used. PROM, which is programmable ROM, where the PROM units contain all the fuses intact initially. The fuses are blown by application of a high voltage pulse to the device through a special pin by special instruments called PROM programmers. And this PROM is written or programmed once and it is irreversible type. And next type we will see EPROM, that is erasable PROM, which is floating gates served as programmed connections. When placed under ultraviolet light, which are short wave radiation that discharges the gates and makes the EPROM returns to its initial state and reprogrammable after erasure. And EEPROM, which is electrically erasable PROM, erasable with an electrical signal instead of ultraviolet light, and which are as longer time is needed to write. And flash ROM, which has limited times of write operations. And now we will see about the combinational programmable logic devices. Combinational programming logic device involves the programmable gates which are divided into an AND array and an OR array. This provides an AND or sum of product implementation. And first, the figure A denotes the programmable read-only memory, and figure B involves the programmable array logic, and figure C denotes programmable logic array. And these are the basic configuration of the three programmable logic devices. And in figure A, here the inputs are applied to the decoder, that is fixed and array, and then transferred to the programmable OR array, and which in turn gives the output. The fixed and array constructed as a decoder and the programmable OR array to implement the Boolean functions in sum of min terms. And figure B involves a programmable AND array to provide the product terms for Boolean functions. And figure C, which involves both, can be programmed and it is most flexible. And now we will see the programmable logic array. Here, the inputs are sent to the programmable AND array and in programmable OR array, and which gives the outputs at the last. The programmable logic array PLA, here an array of programmable AND gates which can generate any product terms of the inputs. An array of programmable OR gates, and it can generate the sum of the products. And this programmable logic array involves only the needed product terms are generated, not at all, which is more flexible than ROM, which uses less circuits than ROM. The size of PLA, which is specified by number of inputs, product terms, and outputs. And this involves N inputs, K product terms, and M outputs. And it also involves N buffer inverter gates, K AND gates, M OR gates, and M XOR gates. And this programmable logic array design a digital system with a PLA. And this reduces the number of distinct product terms and the number of literals in a product, which is not at all important. And implementing PLA, mass programmable PLA, which submit a PLA program table to the manufacturer, and FPLA, which is field programmable by commercial hardware programmer unit. And here is a PLA example which involves AND, OR, and XOR gate. And here you can see in the diagram where F1 involves AB dash plus AC plus A dash BC dash, F2 which is equal to AC plus BC whole dash. The XOR gates can invert the outputs, and invert means it's connected to 1 and not chain, that is connected to 0. And the table, PLA programming table, the PLA programming table which involves 3 sections, that is list the product terms, specify the required paths between the inputs and the AND gates, specify the paths between the AND and the OR gates, that specify the fuse map and submit it to the manufacturer at the end. And here we will see about the programmable array logic, that is a programmable AND array and a fixed OR array, which is easier to program but not as flexible as PLA. And this example, PAL with 4 inputs, I1, I2, I3 and I4, and which involves 4 outputs, F1, F2, F3 and F4 namely, and 3 wide AND OR structure. Each input has a buffer inverter gate, and each output is generated by a fixed OR gate. There are 4 sections of 3 wide AND OR array. Each AND gate has 10 programmable input connections. And here now we will see about the sequential programmable devices, which involves combinational PLD plus flip-flops, which performs a variety of sequential circuit functions. There are 3 major types: sequential programmable logic device, which is field programmable logic sequencer, and complex programmable logic device, which is CPLD, and field programmable gate array, which is FPGA. There are many commercial vendor-specific variants and internal logic of these devices, which is too complex to be shown here. And now we will see what is SPLD, that is sequential programmable logic device, which is simple or sequential PLD that includes the flip-flops and or array. The flip-flops here connected to form a register where the flip-flop outputs could be included in product terms of AND array. The field programmable logic sequencer, the first programmable device developed where the flip-flop may be of D flip-flop or JK flip-flop type. And this cannot succeed commercially due to too many programmable connections. It's a combinational PAL together with D flip-flops which are mostly used. The macro cell, which is a section of a SPLD, a circuit containing a sum of products, combinational logic function, and an optional flip-flop. A typical SPLD contains 8 to 10 macro cells and which involves the features that is programming AND array, use or bypass the flip-flop, select clock edge polarity, preset or clear for the register, and complement and output. And now we'll see about the complex programmable logic device, which is a collection of programmable logic devices to be connected to each other through a programmable switch matrix. And here the input or output blocks provide connections to the integrated circuit pins. Each input-output pin is driven by a three-state buffer and can be programmed to act as input or output. And this switches the matrix receives inputs from input-output block and directs it to individual macro cells. The selected outputs from macro cells are sent to the outputs as needed, and each PLD typically contains from 8 to 16 macro cells. And now we will see about field programmable gate array in the end. That is, the gate array means the basic component which is used in VLSI, very large scale integration. It consists of a pattern of gates fabricated in an area of silicon and repeated thousands of times. The FPGA, which is an array of hundreds of thousands of logic blocks. And this FPGA is surrounded by programmable input and output blocks. And it is connected together via programmable interconnections. And this is a logic block which consists of lookup tables, multiplexers, gates, and flip-flops. And here the lookup table, a truth table which is stored in a SRAM and providing combinational circuit functions for the logic block. The SRAM instead of ROM, which is here, the advantage is the table can be programmed. The drawback is the memory is volatile, reload or reprogram required after power on again. The complexity is the PALs and PLAs involves 10 to 100 gate equivalents and FPGA involves 100 to thousands of gate equivalents. And thank you for listening my lecture. We'll meet in the next lecture.